Hello everyone, this is Defense Politics Asia, and this is the summary for the day of 923 for the 3rd of September. And the frontline changes report, I accidentally typoed, and it became day 9,900. It was like, please, this war, please don't be 9,000. It's crazy, man. All right, we're gonna go into the reports, and first we have additional frontline changes reported over at studies here. And this is not reported in the frontline changes report that is already published. And Russian forces has been geolocated along this forest, and which means that the Russian forces have actually are actually here, and the Ukrainian claims is actually invalidated. So in the footage is the Ukrainian sending their new kind of drone that is raining flames or termite onto the tree, onto the tree lines, and it was circling around here. So yeah, that's basically it. It's interesting that they are deploying something new, but yeah, but if you want to use something like this, you still have to do storming. If you don't attack, then it's a waste of the fire, I would say. But no, yeah, but it is what it is. It's okay. Okay, so that we go into the strategy and tactical reporting. First thing first, Russian Defense Ministry yesterday reported that they have shot down a MiG-29 over Ukraine. They didn't mention exactly where, so that's what it is. So we go into the Kherson front. At the Kherson front, there is still fighting being reported along the Dnipropetrovsk direction. According to the Ukrainian Defense Ministry, there's still this somewhat attack around this region here. Shelling is reported by Russian and Ukrainian both Defense Ministry. Both of them reported various reports at Kozatsky, Berislav. What is this place called? Tomarini. And then I forgot what is this as well. Vrivka, Mykolaiivka, Tyakhinka, and Tokarivka. So a lot of shelling and airstrikes being reported along the entire Kherson region. There's no threat of a Russian going over in a amphibious attack or river crossing attack. Neither do the Ukrainians are going to do the same at this moment. So it's going to be a dead front at this moment. Moving on from the Kherson front, over the Zaporizhia front, Russian forces continue their operations around here, particularly over at the Orikhiv sector, with the Russians reportedly attacking towards Novoandrievka, Novodanilivka, Robotine, and Malatomachka. But this is still not a full-fledged offensive. Tentatively is still unclear what's the deal here. What is the Russians' aim here is still tentatively unclear. We will definitely continue to monitor the situation. There's nothing over the Huaypole sector. Over in the Donetsk front, nothing at the Velika Novosilka sector. We go into the Prashestivka situation. Along the Voleda line at the Prashestivka, as per yesterday's report, Russian forces has indeed captured the rest of Prashestivka. As I mentioned, due to the gray zone, it's most likely that the Russians have taken the entirety of the settlement, and this is indeed corroborated by the Ukrainian mapping. So the question next is what the Russians are going to do next. So I'm not going to speculate much because this is the SITREP. So the situation is as such. There is some kind of a salient in the southwest of Prashestivka. So let's see whether the Russians were going to close up this, attack Zolotaneva, or they're going to push north. So it depends on what the Russians going to do. Over in the Voleda region, Russian forces are attacking in the region of Pavlivka, in the region of Voleda, and towards Vodian or Vodiane. And based on the Ukrainian mapping, the Russian forces have basically attacked, and they are now on the verge of entering Verdiani. And there is geolocation of Ukrainian forces getting attacked by FPV drones in multiple locations. And north of Palivka is also FPV drones. So these are all drone strikes. The Russians are now weakening the Ukrainian defense around here as they try to soften up the defenses. And the one at north of Palivka, the Ukrainian defenders basically ran away from their trenches. I think that I only saw 2 guys. I'm not sure if there's more guys, maybe killed by the FPV drone attacks or whatnot. So it's definitely working at this moment. But whether the Russians is going to make a push for it remains to be seen, because it can always be a trap. As the Russians have experienced before in this front line in Voleda, when they did push, suddenly there's a lot of anti-tank guided missiles and a lot of Russian losses happened over in the Voleda offensive. So I don't think the Russians are going to push for Voleda anytime soon, but they're definitely trying to pin down the Ukrainian forces. Let's see how this develop. At Vodiane, the Russians are very much on the verge of entering from the entrance. From the entrance to the where the front line is around 400 meters, and they are basically on the verge of entering the Dacha. Probably have already entered the Dacha region. So let's continue to wait and see how this continue to unfold. In the Konstantinivka region, Russian forces are fighting in the region of Konstantinivka, but there's no details regarding what's currently happening. We move further up north. Over in the Marinka sector, Russian forces are fighting in the region of Krasnohorivka and Georgievka. Exact details, we don't have it, so we just have to wait. Further up north from Krasnohorivka, there is rumors that Nevelsky might have been captured by the Russian forces, according to Russian information, but this is not confirmed, just rumors. Over in this Helesinivka region, Russian forces geolocated at the very southwest of the town, confirming the Russian capture of Helesinivka. So this is a judgment call by DPA. There is still fighting reported in this region, and the fighting is now already progressing to Zelane Pershi. Fighting is also reported in Ukraine's tentatively. No fighting was reported at Lysivka, so which is kind of weird. So let's wait and see how this continue to progress. This is basically at the southern part of the Pokrov front. We move into the Pokrov front. So over at the Selidove sector, there is fighting reported at Novohorodivka, at Selidove, at Mikhailivka. Somehow there is fighting reported at Zavidne and Zelane. And interestingly, one is by the Russian Defense Ministry, the other one is by the Ukrainian Defense Ministry. So and there must be some kind of a thing happening around this region that we don't fully understand. So a bit weird. So we just continue to wait and see how this develop around here. And very very unusual situation. I'm curious why both sides are reporting fighting in the rear positions. So moving further up north, over at the Horodivka region, there is fighting reported at Myrolyubivka, and over at Horodivka, there is no news regarding the developments at Horodivka itself. Geolocation of Ukrainian counterattacking from Sukiya, and they basically have a tank geolocated over here. The Ukrainian tank was here, and they were firing at Russian targets over in this region here. So this confirmed Russian presence over in the northern part of Novohorodivka, but also shows that the Ukrainians are indeed putting pressure on the Russians and defending the lines. So this must be some kind of a relief for the Ukrainian supporters. I would believe that this is the second corroboration that the Ukrainians indeed is defending or counter-attacking, and that they are now going to protect Pokrov sector. And I think from now on the Russian progress to Pokrov is going to be a lot slower than before. So let's continue to wait and see how this goes. Over in the northern sector of the Pokrov front, there is fighting reported towards Zelenopole and Vozdivizhenka, but that's about it. This usually nothing happens around here. We move into the New York front. Over the New York front, we have fighting across the entire front line from Kalinove to Oleksandropil, Pentelmelanivka, Nelipivka, Torex, and Druzhba. And the only one with frontline changes or significance is over in Druzhba. And over at Druzhba, there is geolocation of Russian forces, basically very, very up front at Druzhba, confirming Russian capture of most of Druzhba at this moment. Which there's a little bit of Druzhba left, so just finish your Druzhba. No, don't leave food. People in Africa nothing to eat. So sad. You have to make sure that they eat. Yeah, that's what my parents always say. Like when I was young. But not Africa now is different. Africa now is very very most of the people are doing pretty well. So except for people in Sudan, in Libya, in Sahrawi, okay, too much sad news. Let's not talk about it. We move into Bakhmut. In the Bakhmut front, in the southern flank of the Bakhmut front, Russian forces are fighting in the region of Klishchievka and Drievka. There's reported fighting towards Bilohora and towards Proteshny. This could be the bombardments, but no, it is the Ukrainian Defense Ministry, sorry, Russian Defense Ministry mentioned about the shelling, Proteshny. Oh, these are Russian, so this could be shelling. So, but let's see how this develop. Very, very curious what's really happening. Over in the northern flank, we have fighting reported in the Chasivia region and Kharkivka, but that's about it in the Bakhmut front. We move into the Sivas front. At the Sivas front, there is fighting being reported at Zvenivka, which is one of these weird reports because the Russian front line is nowhere close to Zvenivka, at least based on what we know. And of course, we already have the capture of Vimka being announced by the Russian Defense Ministry. So there might in the conclusions, I did mention that there's a high chance that the Russians have already taken Vimka, as well as they are now on the verge of attacking towards Zvenivka. So that is a possibility. So we will just have to continue to wait for information. Fighting is reported in Ivano-Darivka, Sperne, as well as Verkhem-Okanyamsky. So the Vimka, the Zvenivka report was coming from the Russian Defense Ministry, corroborating the capture of Vimka, reported on the 1st of September. And then the Ukrainian Defense Ministry is still talking about Vimka, Ivano-Darivka. So let's wait. It's very, very unusual. So Russian Defense Ministry also did mention the capture of Ivano-Darivka, by the way, on the 23rd of of July. So there must be some kind of development that is unclear around here, that is not reported. The parallel universe must be huge. But tentatively, there is no clear Russian mappings at this moment, or that I trust. There is mapping this area here as in a way that we can understand this. So over in the Crimea front, at the Crimea front, Russian forces are attacking the region of Serebensky Forestry, Torske, Terny, and Novosadove. So that's about it from the Crimea front. Nothing particularly special happening around here. In the north, over in the Svetove front, we have fighting reported at Nevsky, towards Gregivka, towards Druzilubivka and Sverdlovkibove. So that's about it in this area. Similarly, nothing particularly significant is being mentioned or happening. Over in the Pischane front, at the Pischane front, Russian forces are fighting in the region of Pischane. They're fighting towards Khrushchevka, Berestove, and towards Lozova. And Lozova. So that's the strategic situation. Nothing particularly significant change strategically. Is basically the same thing. Ukrainians are defending the bird around here. For those that do not know the bird, there's a bird around here. There's a bird, So yeah, there's a bird which shows the good. There's a thumbs up bird over here. So this bird is still holding the line. So tentatively, nothing really changes strategically. At the Kupiansk front, Russian forces are attacking Sinkivka and Petropavlivka. Similarly, nothing really changed around this area here. We move into the Kharkiv front. At the Kharkiv front, Russian forces are putting pressure in Lipsy as well as Voschansk. Geolocation of FPV drone strikes in Voschansk was reported. There is also a destruction of two infantry fighting vehicles, the BMP, BTR-4 EBTRs, were destroyed at the Dacha region, or east of the Dacha. So let me zoom in. So they were destroyed around here as the Ukrainians maybe tried to do some fire attack or some probings, and then it got destroyed. So, but that's about it in this region. Of course, we have the frontline change that I mentioned in the beginning of the video as that is here, but that's about it. There is no strategic and tactical changes around this front line. This is basically a dead front at this moment. So let's wait and see. Moving into the Sumy region, there is continued shelling over at Velikan Pesarivka. This is a continuation of the report yesterday, and we still have the cluster of shelling all over the place. Over in the Hulushkivka region, Khlukhiv region. Not much here. There's only a Porepki, Pustohorod, and Khlukhiv, and this is significantly smaller in terms of the scale of or the number of locations that was shelling being reported. But let's see how this develop. There's a lot more shelling being reported in the Vorozhba region or the Tekino region, with shelling reported at Stary Verki, Stukalivka, and Vorosba, Belopilia, Novoivanovka, Palivka, and it looks like there must be something is about to be happening. Maybe this is a lot of shelling, so let's see. The amount of shelling does show that there is a huge cluster of forces over there. There is also further shelling in the rear positions over at Kotin, Novosich, Yunakivka, and Myropilia. So these are all reserve positions, so not important. In the southern flank, there is still Ukrainian attack towards Borki. Russians continue to put pressure on Blakovo. Shelling is reported at Kurilovka. So we haven't seen shelling at Kurilovka. This is the first time we have seen the shelling reported around here. So let's see how this goes. This is the southern flank. Nothing particularly special. On the eastern flank, the situation, the Russians are continue to counterattack over at Mihailovka, Martinovka. Ukrainians are attacking Chekatskoye Poroshnoi. Russians are attacking Kositsa. But the Russians' attacks are generally more towards FPV drone attack and artillery strikes. So it's not much of a ground offensive. So the operation is mainly more towards eliminating manpower, than assault for the Russian side. For the Ukrainian side, their attack is more of capturing grounds. So there is also shelling being reported over in 1Y Kiyazi or the Kinyazi Pervi. So this perverted place got shelled, and then further up north, this is the part of the northern flank where the Russians are fighting in the region of Malaya Lognia. So we just go into the northern flank. At the northern flank, so as mentioned in the Kositsa and Chekatskoye Poroshnoi, this is already mentioned. Ukrainian forces are attacking towards Kamishevka, Pogrebki. Russians are attacking at Olivka, Malaya Lognia, shelling at Novoivanovka, Lyubivmovka. Ukrainians are attacking over in Ogovka, as well as towards Kalinevo. So the northern flank continues to be mainly in this Korinevo sector, or maybe even Kremianoe, and then we have the Malaya Lognia region, all the way to the Poroshnoi twin around there. So these are the two main sectors that the fighting is happening. This entire northern part continues to be to be a 404. It's missing. There's nothing really happening over there. So there is a high chance that the Ukrainians may have lost all these positions. High chance, because the mapping currently puts it as a gray zone, but the lack of action, even in terms of geolocation, FPV drone strikes, whatnot, there's no evidence of fighting in these regions. So there could be a high possibility that the Russians may have secured the line for all the way south. So the line could be like this. Like it could look something like this. This could be the line where the Russians have already retaken all these positions. Thus, the fighting is over at Pogrebki as well as in Kameshivka. That is a possibility, but we will continue to monitor because we can't confirm this information yet. But I'm just saying that based on the lack of reporting, that could be the case. Over on the western flank, the Ukrainians continue to attack towards Komarovka. They still have not given up to capture this location, while the Russians continue to grind away at the Ukrainians at Krasno-Oktябrsky, Vinevka, Snagos, Apanovsovka, Vnezapnoe, as well as Gordievka. The Russians continue to put pressure on the Ukrainians. As usual, these arrows are mainly just shelling reports, FPV drone strikes, rather than ground offensive. As the Russian strategy in the Kursk front is not ground forces, it's not capturing ground. It looks like they are using the Kursk situation to grind away at the Ukrainians, while the Ukrainians are trying to capture more grounds so that they can have a stronger negotiating position. So the two sides have very different objective, which is why the two sides are fighting very differently. And I think both are achieving what they want, but I think the Russians are gaining a bit more in terms of grinding away the Ukrainian forces. Ukrainians are taking a lot of losses, whilst the Ukrainians are also making progress. They're taking a bit more grounds, but so far nowhere close to the most important places that they need to capture. So anyway, that's all from the Kursk front. Yeah, then there's the geolocation of missile strike, and not important. So that's about it. So this is the SITREP for the day of 923 for the 3rd of September. Do press the like button, subscribe. If you're interested, check out this conclusion. I have talked a lot about all the details and my opinions and analysis of the situation. So I'll see you guys in the next update.